What will be a very sizzling Saturday at New Hampshire Motor Speedway, both weather-wise and competition-wise. Begins with NASCAR Nationwide Series qualifying to set the starting field on the Magic Mile for this afternoon's 200-lap race. Hi, everybody, from New Hampshire. Alan Bestwick, along with the winner of the very first Sprint Cup race at this track, Rusty Wallace, and champion crew chief Andy Petrie. It's not overstating it to say that this may be the most important qualifying session of the season if you want to win today's race.
Yeah, track position is so critical here at this track, probably more than anywhere, because it's so hard to pass. And so everybody's going to put a lot of emphasis in qualifying. 12 of the last 13 winners have come from inside the top 10. You got to go back to 04 to find somebody that's won this race outside of the top 10 when Matt Kenseth had done it from 21st. So you'll see a lot of teams put a lot into this qualifying.
And Andy, for a driver, this is one of the toughest places out there to get qualified. Heat in the tires is very, very important. So as a driver, I would leave pit road and really scrub the tires in hard, back and forth, trying to build all the heat I possibly could in the tires, and trying to build the speed up too, because if I got to turn one after they drop the green flag to take that first lap and that thing's slipping and sliding, I'm going to have a bad qualifying lap. And if I had a bad first lap, I got a second chance. I can make it up on a second lap. But I'll tell you, for a driver, this place is tough because of the heat. You got to get heat in the tires to qualify good here at New Hampshire.
A couple of drivers to watch for in this qualifying session. Let's go first to Dr. Jerry Punch.
Thank you, Alan. You know, it may shock you that three-time New Hampshire Nationwide winner Kyle Busch has not won a race this year. His last win way back last fall at Richmond. Why? Because of growing pains with the new Kyle Busch Motorsports team, as evidenced by what happened yesterday. This car shut off in the first session because they had a fuel pump problem. And in the final practice session, the gauges were fluctuating wildly. They had to come in and change the battery, the entire electrical system. But guess what? They were the fastest car overall in the final session. Here's Vince Welch.
Well, in the list of drivers who figure to contend to unseat Kyle Busch include this guy, Brad Keselowski, in the 22 car. As Andy and Rusty talked about, track position is key. Qualifying will be critical. And Keselowski has started on the pole for the nationwide race here at Loudon, New Hampshire, each of the last 2 years. And also, don't forget about Kevin Harvick. Harvick has been bad fast this weekend. He's won the pole here at Loudon 3 times. He won from the pole here in 2007. And he has been second quick in both practice sessions this weekend, Alan.
All right, couple of guys, actually a few guys to watch for there as we get ready to roll the first car in NASCAR Nationwide Series qualifying at New Hampshire Motor Speedway. That happens in just a minute. They pack the Saturday schedule here at New Hampshire full of on-track action, and you're going to see a lot of it on the ESPN networks today. Later on, 2:30 Eastern Time, we start with NASCAR Countdown on ESPN for the 200-lap Nationwide Series event here. And then after the conclusion of the nationwide racing, they're going to put the ramps in place and the jumps and the hoops, and the Global Rallycross Championship runs right here on the Magic Mile. See it on ESPN tonight at 7 Eastern Time.
I can't wait to see that. We saw a little bit of practice yesterday. It was pretty wild looking. There's no doubt about that.
We've got to get you in one of those cars.
No way, buddy.
All right, first up, Charles Lewandowski, a native New Englander, Stafford Springs, Connecticut, on the track. Told me in the garage yesterday the deal to jump behind the wheel of this 15 car for this weekend only came about on Monday. And he said it was great because I was looking for something. I didn't want to miss a race at my home track. He said, I haven't been able to run a lot this year, but I didn't want to not be here at New Hampshire.
Tell you what, I'm watching this car go around a racetrack. If I had a little time, I'd go down there with a wrench and work on that car for Charles, because it's rolling over quite a bit. She's awful high in the front end, and that really kills the speed at a track like this. So it looks like it needs some setup help.
Yeah, it looks like it needs a little bit of sway bar. That's almost like the sway bar's unhooked. It's throwing so much.
It looks that way.
That is one of the key things to getting around this track quick, is you have to keep the platform of the car level. You want to keep that splitter just as level as you can to the racetrack, and you can see at 15, it's really rolling over in the corner.
They talk about Charles being from New England. This racetrack so treasured by racers from New England. When Bob Baer took what was the old Briar Motorsports Park road course and built a NASCAR-type super speedway, and they have races here for the modifieds. They have races for the NASCAR Regional Touring Series in the area, and this is kind of the Daytona for a lot of the New England racers, and Charles, one of those guys. He just wanted to be here and be in the field.
Tell you what, the other night I had an opportunity to go over to Thompson, Connecticut, a little short track over there, Alan, and you're exactly right. That's what they were talking about, how up here in New Hampshire, this is their Daytona 500. In fact, a lot of people from over that little short track the other night are here today. They love this place.
Saw Mike Harmon right there, Rusty. His car slid that left front tire. Just like you talked about, it's really hard to get heat in the tires the first lap. And with the cold tires, get on that brake just a little bit too hard and you can slide it and flat spot it.
Well, they've really run the air pressure low here in the race to get the grip they need. And this is one of the toughest racetracks to get the grip besides, say, Martinsville, Virginia. A track like that, Andy. And every driver I know, they almost fear qualifying at this particular place because of that reason.
Last time these cars were on the racetrack was yesterday afternoon. Since then, they had NASCAR Sprint Cup qualifying. They had a practice this morning for the NASCAR Whelen Modified Series. They had a practice for the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series. Now they're on the track again, and conditions have changed since they last ran a practice lap.
Yeah, absolutely they've changed. I mean, all that different rubber on the racetrack and all those laps being put on the track. And something we were just talking about a little while ago was hot and sunny yesterday. Now it's overcast and it's much cooler. So the conditions they're qualifying in today are definitely different.
And Andy, you're a crew chief down there as we see Mike Harmon winding down. I'll mention, by the way, that Amber Cope is supposed to be next in the qualifying line. The car's still going through tech, and the 24 cars on the 5-minute clock. Chase Miller is on the track now, coming to take the white flag and to take over the top spot on the board. But conditions here were forecast today for a high of 95 this afternoon. Impound race for the Nationwide Series as always. Crew chiefs have to set the car up for those conditions for the race. But now you got to send your driver out to qualify for 2 laps, and it's overcast and 77.
And you still don't know what it's going to be like race time. You can't. It's almost like you have to be a weather forecaster to do a good job as a crew chief, because the conditions really do change how the car is set up. And if you have a really hot, slick racetrack, you got to have a little different setup. Right now, it's just about ideal. The grip level's pretty high.
Just a tick slower on the second lap, so Chase Miller to the top of the board in the 46 car. Just underway, plenty to come in NASCAR Nationwide Series qualifying. Travis Pastrana, no jumps on this lap. This is the Nationwide Series car. He'll be out to qualify in a minute. Quick move in NASCAR Nationwide Series qualifying session at New Hampshire. Matt Carter just ran his 2 laps on the clock during the break. Third fastest out of 5 for the moment. As Matt unbuckles himself, TJ Bell, rolling back onto the pit lane, also has just finished his qualifying laps. 3rd out of 6 for TJ Bell. And on the track now, and just taking over the top spot in the session for the moment, Josh Wise in the 42 car.
Well, the speeds are going to start really picking up as the cars continue to go out. We all know that because the slowest cars go first and the fastest cars go last. But one thing I have noticed, these guys are about a half a second faster than they were yesterday. I guess it must be because the cool temperatures out here, they're getting more grip, the cars are running faster. So they should blow the times away that they had yesterday.
Comparable time to what, for example, this car ran in practice yesterday is what you're saying.
Yeah, that's what I look at all the time. This car in practice yesterday did a qualifying run, and it ran, I believe, a 31.16. And now it just qualified a 30.36, so quite a bit faster.
Yep. So Josh Wise, top of the board so far, after just 6 of 43 have gone. By the way, 43 here, so everybody will start. But again, recapping what we talked about a few minutes ago, track position so critical here at New Hampshire, and if you want to win this race, you better start somewhere up front.
Yeah, and you want to stay up there too. You want to have good pit stops and good strategy, because you can't really just put new tires on, start at the back, and 30 laps work your way to the front. It's very, very hard to pass here. Track's almost flat. I mean, you can see right there. Just very, very little banking. That's one of the most difficult things about getting around here.
The track has got just a little bit of progressive banking in it. Nothing like some of the newer tracks, but it's a little flatter in that bottom lane than it is the second, third lane. And Bob Baer, the previous owner of this racetrack, did that on purpose to try to create some side-by-side racing here, and it actually helped just a little bit.
Josh Richards up to second on the board, 30.66 for Josh on his second lap. And the former World of Outlaws late model champ in the number 2 position out of 7 at the moment. New England native Kevin LePage is next up on the racetrack, and this is a brand new race team that LePage is driving for. Not new to racing. Scott DeWare is the owner of this car. Scott's a racer out of Easton, Massachusetts, which is just to the south of Boston. He's run some K&N East Series races and some Grand Am Series races, and they're trying to build an operation to run maybe 6 or 8 races for the rest of this Nationwide Series season, and then hopefully, if they can put it all together, and we all know what that means, find the sponsorship and so on, they want to run the full series next year with Kevin.
Well, this is a way to start doing it, but the dangerous thing is when you look at a car like this with no lettering on it whatsoever except the number, you know that all the money's coming out of the owner's pocket. And generally, most owners don't stand for that too long.
Well, the journey of 1,000 miles starts with the first step.
Yep.
At least he's on the track and he's getting going.
That's right.
Second lap for Kevin will leave him second fastest at a 30.52. And the first step has been had for Scott DeWare in his NASCAR Nationwide Series efforts. Josh Wise on top. Lots more still to come, including Justin Allgaier, trying to give his crew chief a birthday present, like a pole position trophy.
What's he got to be?
The summertime sports scene in New England includes, of course, Yawkey Way and Fenway Park. Red Sox out of town this weekend, but back home for a long homestand on Monday. And just up the road, about 70 miles, New Hampshire Motor Speedway, where thousands of NASCAR fans will gather this weekend to watch a lot of action, including today's NASCAR Nationwide Series 200 lapper. A couple cars have run during the break. Stephen Light, you see, 4th fastest overall in the 47 car. And Jeff Green, the former series champ, now your new leader in qualifying in that 10 car, top of the board at a 30.21. Here is Tony Raines finishing up. Second lap for Tony, going to put him 6th out of 12 at a 30.74. And we swing down the pit road, and Vince Welch.
With former series champion Joe Nemechek, it's been a special place for him here in his career. Got his first Cup win here, and also won the Nationwide race here back in '92. That was kind of a thriller. How'd that one work out for you?
I tell you what, you think back to that '92, had a heck of a battle with Dale Earnhardt Sr. here. Last probably 5 laps, and I came out on top. So big step in my career back then, and it's fun to come here to New Hampshire. It's a flat track, big long corners. Your car's really got a handle. Proud to say we have a new sponsor on board for today's race. Charlie and all the guys at Wildco, they're a petroleum equipment distributor here in the Northeast, came on board. So they're local, do a lot of stuff with Children's Charities Network, and we're just happy they're on board. It gives me an opportunity to get out here and run well, and we're doing a lot with a little right now, and we're having a lot of success.
I wish you the best. Thanks, Joe.
Thank you.
Alan.
Terrifically memorable day. We'll talk more about that when Joe gets out on the track to run here in just a little while. Joey Gase on track, 52 car. They're a little bit late for their scheduled qualifying time, but got it through tech, and there they are. And Joey put his 2 laps in, 10th out of 13, looking to make his very first Nationwide Series start here at New Hampshire. He is the 19-year-old from Iowa. Definitely not his first start at New Hampshire. Morgan Shepherd on the track.
Yeah, he's back on the track. He set out last week. Didn't attempt to qualify at Daytona. Good to see him back.
Oh, we see Morgan with that green car. Got a purple car today.
Yeah, it looks good, doesn't
Yeah,
it?
it does look good. I kind of like the way that looks. That black and purple paint scheme he's got. Totally different from... Maybe he's trying to hide from us or something. I don't know what's going on. Whole different look.
I think he's trying to stand out.
Yeah.
That's a nice color. Reminds me of, wasn't it Dick Trickle when he ran the late model in the Midwest? Didn't he have a purple number 99 that looked like that for a lot of years?
He
Maybe
had
with a
a
white roof.
I remember he had the A&W root beer car that he raced a long time ago. That's the car I always remember out of Trickle.
I saw Dick Trickle at the golf course Sunday last week. Said say hello to everyone.
Hope he's doing well.
He looked great.
Outstanding. 9th on the first lap for Morgan Shepherd. 70 years old. And still out there driving and doing great. Love to see it. Second lap, a little bit faster for Morgan. 7th fastest out of 14 at a 30.769. Jeff Green is the fastest in qualifying. Joe Nemechek, that terrific fight with Dale Earnhardt that put him on the map. That's Joe in the yellow and white 87, beating Earnhardt with a checkered flag.
Very cool.
NASCAR Nationwide Series qualifying at New Hampshire Motor Speedway. Our coverage of the race later on today over on ESPN, starting at 2:30 Eastern Time. Danny Eflin just finished up in the 4 car. Danny 10th right now out of 17 at a 30.86. And Eric Darnell just unbuckling from the 40 car, 3rd fastest for Eric at a 30.37. Eric McClure on the racetrack now in the 14 car. He has just taken the checkered flag, and on his cool down lap, Eric checks in at 11th quick in a 30.86. Yielding the racetrack to Mike Wallace in the 0-1, who had a tough night last week at Daytona in a car he could have won in and just didn't work out.
Well, it was fast. I mean fast. He got in a couple of incidents. The second one just took him completely out of contention, but he had a great car.
Oh, he did. He told me after the race, he said, Rusty, he said, I just didn't see him underneath me. I cut him off and I caused the accident, but he was so upset because the car was so fast. Had that Richard Childress engine under the hood. The car was flat flying. He thought he could have won the race.
Got in the car to start practice here. Keyed on the radio. I happen to hear him on the scanner tell his team, last week was last week. We'll start all over again, and we'll put it behind us by running well here. And that's what he's trying to do. 4th fastest for Mike Wallace at a 30.474. Vince?
With Michael Annett, one of 4 drivers who has a chance for that $100,000 Dash for Cash bonus tonight. You had a good run at Daytona, brought it home 5th, back-to-back top 5s. What's been the key for you guys lately?
I think we're just all excited. You know we belong in the top 5 week in and week out, and started at Kentucky, and we were a little nervous about Daytona, but we got through there, got qualified for the Nationwide Insurance Dash for Cash, a really cool program they run, and we got a good car here for New Hampshire, and just got to get through qualifying, start up front. We know it's hard to pass here, so we get this job done and go into tonight and hopefully get that $100,000.
AB?
Vince, thanks. Michael, one of the 4 drivers, highest finishing of those 4 today in this race. We'll get that $100,000. Give you the details on that after we watch Jeremy Clements finish up his run. First lap was 8th quickest. Another guy at Daytona drove right up there into the top 10, and then night didn't turn out his way.
It was a big opportunity race at Daytona. That draft really got a lot of guys that struggled other tracks up into the front at Daytona, and we thought we were going to see some new winners. And this was one of them. Jeremy just ran fantastic last weekend. In fact, he runs good today, qualifies 3rd here at New Hampshire.
Mentioning the Nationwide Insurance Dash for Cash, so here are the 4 drivers that will contest for that bonus money today. They will be Michael Annett, Elliott Sadler, Austin Dillon, and Ricky Stenhouse Jr. Highest finishing of those 4 drivers takes home $100,000 today, and then that driver plus the other 3 highest finishing championship eligible Nationwide Series drivers compete for the $100,000 next week at Chicagoland Speedway when we race there a week from Sunday, and on to Indianapolis and on to Iowa with the same pattern.
I can tell you, race car drivers, they love money. They love money, baby. They're going to be driving hard to get that Dash for Cash money.
Something fun to follow within the race.
It is.
And we look forward to seeing that later on today. Here's Timmy Hill.
It's another car that's all rolled over. Andy, look at that. Those
It's carrying the left front tire.
You can see distinct difference between a lot of these cars, Alan. They're the ones that are really faster. That nose is laying right on the ground. And some of these guys are really having a struggle understanding this chassis, what they need here.
I tell you, it's really, really hard. I said earlier how to get a car to sit just exactly like you need to here. Track is virtually flat, and trying to make a car not roll over and go fast through the corner is hard to do.
That's 6th fastest for last year's Rookie of the Year, Timmy, off his top 10 result at Daytona last Friday night. Still got plenty of cars to go, though. 23 left to make a run in Nationwide Series qualifying. Jeff Green on pole for the moment. And here is a New Hampshire native on the clock. Got one Nationwide Series start at this racetrack under his belt, as well as some starts in the NASCAR Can-Am East Series. Matt Fromm is from North Salem, New Hampshire, to the south and east of the racetrack, over by the Atlantic coast.
Yeah, good first lap, already up top with that 30.04. Trying to better it here. Almost everybody up there, at least in the top 6 or 7, have run faster on that second lap. It looks like Matt's first lap's going to be quicker.
Fractionally slower on the second one. But to the top of the board, which in this we qualify in the reverse order of practice speeds, means you did what you're supposed to.
And, you know, his fastest lap yesterday was a 30.50, and today's 30.08. So that's how much faster this track is today.
Yep. Here's Taylor Malsom. Just keep looking at the ages of these guys in the series, right? Timmy Hill's 19 years old, and Matt Fromm is 22 years old, and here's Taylor Malsom and 23 years old.
They're starting off younger. That's been the trend for a long time now.
9th fastest on the first lap, and regrouping on the second, and got that green line going.
Carried a lot of speed through the middle of 1 and 2 on the tractor, still staying green.
It's close.
Losing just a little bit of time off of turn 4.
Yep.
Like his first lap's going to be quicker also.
Up to second fastest for Taylor Malsom at a 30.124, fractionally behind Matt Fromm, who is currently the leader in qualifying. Lots more still to come. 21 cars to go, including Danica Patrick, all looking for those coveted front of the grid starting spots and a chance to hold the lobster in victory lane at the end of the race.
That's scary.
NASCAR Nationwide Series qualifying live from New Hampshire Motor Speedway, getting you set and getting the field set for this afternoon's 200-lapper. You'll see on ESPN starting at 2:30 Eastern Time. Jason Bowles set the fast time a moment ago. First driver to get under 30 seconds in this qualifying session, 29.88. He was followed on the track by Scott Riggs in the 71 car, who ran what is now the 11th fastest lap. Now the 11th fastest lap, because on the track just a second ago, Michael Annett took the white flag and went to the top of the board in the 43.
And we kind of expected that. The cars are getting much faster right now, and Michael's been running fantastic these last 4 or 5 races. A lot of top 10 finishes, really getting himself up there in the point standings and looking good. So it doesn't surprise me that he's got the pole right now. We've talked a lot about him in the last 2 races about how much better he's getting, Alan. And a good qualifying run right now doesn't surprise me a bit.
The big blue spoiler will be what denotes the Nationwide Insurance Dash for cash cars from the rest of the field during today's race. 29.62 for Annett. Vince?
With Travis Pastrana getting ready to climb in the car. You're pulling double duty this week. You got the Nationwide race today, and then after that, rally race here at the track. Which one's causing you more concern?
Right now, just getting out of the rally car, it's all about aggression. And getting into this, New Hampshire is the most patience track, which isn't really a virtue of mine. So I just got out of the rally car for qualifying last night, and to get into this where you got to wait for it and wait for it. That's what everyone's saying, just wait to get on the throttle, wait to get on the throttle. And rally is like, get on the throttle and just go. So a little nervous, but should be all right. Best practice we've had, so.
We'll see how it goes, Alan.
Caught you in mid-conversation there, Vince, with Travis. Travis getting buckled in, and yeah, this is a racetrack that is, as you've talked about, Rusty, more difficult to get a feel for in those first couple laps. They're so critical.
Well, a lot of drivers talk patience, but it's a little more than that. I mean, you got to be patient, but you got to be aggressive too. You can't roll through the corners too much out of the throttle to keep that grip, because you just get beat. You really got to hustle it, but it's got a fine line. You go a little too much, you jump right out of the groove, and it kills your lap time.
Allgaier really picked up from practice. He's about 6/10 quicker than he practiced.
How long can he stay at the top of the board? Here is Ryan Truex in the Gibbs 18. Remember last time we saw Ryan was at Dover when he lost the lead with 6 laps to go.
Heartbreaker.
This is a racetrack that his family has a great tradition of success at. His father, Martin, won races in NASCAR's Old Busch North Series here. Brother Martin Truex has won races. Ryan has won races of his own.
Hey, Ryan is definitely not over that loss at Dover, Delaware. He talks about it almost every day. I watched him on some other networks the other day, and he was still talking about losing that race at Dover, but he does love this racetrack, and he's in a great car. He's got a great opportunity to win this race.
Joe Gibbs Racing has won 4 straight here at New Hampshire in the Nationwide Series. Kyle Busch, the last 3 of them. Tony Stewart, the one before that. Ryan Truex will carry the colors of this 18 today, and right now he'll carry them.
P1.
to the top of the board.
29.46. The next one is a 29.61.
So, new leader in qualifying is Ryan Truex. Family history. That is his dad. That's Martin, taking the checkered flag in the old Busch North Series here. And then Martin Jr. in the NASCAR Nationwide Series. Lighting him up after winning at New Hampshire. K&N East Series. Ryan with success at this racetrack already. Locking up a couple of championships here. Can today be the day for that first Nationwide Series win at a track that he says to his family, just like they talk about Dover being close to home, he said this is a home track too. We spent a lot of time racing here.
And that means a lot. I mean, a lot of people might think, what is that about? It's a regular racetrack. Just because you live close there, why is it your favorite track? I'll tell you what, it's a lot of it gets in your head. You go, man, I want to run good in front of my family, in front of my fans, and you tend to get up on the wheel. I mean, every time we go to Charlotte, North Carolina, all the big teams are there. They all think about Charlotte. That's the track we got to get it done on. The Truex family, it's Dover and right here.
Yeah, and this is a hotbed of stock car racing up here. It's just like Charlotte is for the Southeast.
Yep.
This is for the Northeast.
Fifth fastest for Joe Nemechek. 15 cars to go, including a lot of the big names who are fast in practice. Stenhouse and Sadler headed toward their cars. NASCAR Nationwide Series qualifying to set the start of the starting order for this afternoon's 200-lap race at New Hampshire Motor Speedway. Down to the final 15 cars. Jamie Dick has just finished running, 6th quickest for the New Mexico native. And Mike Bliss has also just put a couple laps on the clock in the 44. Mike showing 4th fastest for the moment behind Ryan Truex, who's at the top of the board. On track now, the man who's won pole for this race the last 2 straight years. In the 22, Brad Keselowski.
2 of his 12 pole positions came here. Sure use it today.
This 22 car's been rock solid for 2 years now, it seems like. I mean, the handle's perfect.
It's a great lap going.
Yeah, look at that. It's off of turn 3, just picking up speed.
He's getting the most out of the extra grip the track has in it because of the cool temperatures. Goes all the way down to 29.06. Wow.
That's 0.8 of a second faster than his first lap.
That's quite a bit faster than they ran yesterday. Fastest lap yesterday was Kyle Busch at a 29.40. Brad's fastest lap was just 29.87.
So, new leader, Brad Keselowski. Can he make it 3 pole positions in a row here at New Hampshire? And that is, yeah, that's track record. Track record lap there for Brad in the Nationwide Series.
Congratulations. Great run.
Now, heard from Travis Pastrana a minute ago. Qualifying has been difficult for him in his limited Nationwide Series starts so far. And Rusty, you've talked about how difficult this racetrack can be to drive a qualifying lap on. And that's leaving aside the fact that the last thing you drove was last night, the Global Rallycross machine.
As long as he's got his team really helping him to what to expect in qualifying here, and Scott Zipadelli absolutely knows that.
He's had a good weekend so far. 12th quickest in happy hour.
He has really struggled of late, though, Andy. You know that. Now, I'm really looking for a turnaround for Travis. He needs a big time. 9th quick.
Yeah, good, steady, solid, couple of consistent laps, and Pastrana has her safely and unscratched into the field for this afternoon's race. Ryan Truex just bumped from the pole, Doc.
And still 2nd quickest overall, Ron. We reminded folks about the disappointment at Dover with 6 laps to go, but the great family history the Truex group has here with wins. What's it going to take for you to get that first nationwide win today?
Well, it starts off with a good qualifying spot. I think we'll be in the top 10 for sure. Our Grind Boss Toyota was good. I didn't drive it as hard as I probably could. Track had more grip today than it did yesterday in practice, so definitely underdrove it. But these guys did great. We battled a lot of problems, and I mean, we were just tight in practice. And these guys worked hard to get better, and I think we got it better now. So just ready to go race.
All right, Ryan Truex driving for Joe Gibbs, by the way, who's won the last 4 in a row here at New Hampshire.
Cole Witt, 7th fastest on lap 1. Tracking a lot better on lap 2.
The heat gets in those tires. Those cars go faster in a second lap. I mean, generally, They pick up quite a bit. We're seeing about a half a second pickup from the first lap to the second lap. You know, one thing Ryan Truex said, going back to Truex, guys, Andy, especially you, I remember we would always come here and never have the grip in qualifying that we had in practice the same day. And drivers would go, what in the world happened? We're not seeing that right now. Goodyear's got a brand new tire. It's got a little bit more grip out there. And what I'm hearing is drivers saying they're not having a grip problem like they generally do. So, hey, maybe Goodyear's hit on something really good for these drivers.
Yeah, I think he hit on something. Watch Jamie McMurray. We haven't seen him out here in a while in the Nationwide Series, but you're right, Rusty. It used to be a real problem to just get the heat in the tires to get grip, but Goodyear's done such a good job with the new stuff that the tires have grip right off the bat, and they can go out here and be aggressive with it. We've seen on the board now a few of the cars have been faster even on their first lap. And that's very unusual.
I'll add to that, temperature's a lot cooler right now than it was yesterday with all this overcast overhead. That'll help the grip too.
It helps the grip, the overall grip, but back to what Rusty said, it's hard to get going, and in the cool days it's even harder.
You mentioned been a while since we've seen Jamie McMurray. Dover, October of last year was the last time we saw him in a nationwide race. Second quick right now, 29:41 for McMurray, but he's still 0.4 of a second behind Brad Keselowski.
It'll be hard to beat that lap.
Vince?
That was bad fast indeed. Jeremy Bullins, your crew chief, couldn't hardly contain the smile when I asked him before the run how good your car was. Why don't you tell us about it?
It's been really good. You know, the snap-on Dodge has been fast since we unloaded it, and it's great. You know, we really struggled at Richmond, and the whole team went down to Milwaukee and tested. I didn't go with them, but Parker Flickram, the Truck Series driver, he went down there and did a lot of work and got this car a lot better. So I'm proud of the effort everybody's put into this program, and proud to have Snap-on on board this week. That's great, too. So looking forward to a good race. It looks like Kevin Harvick's really, really fast, too, and you know, never take anything for granted. It can always be beat, so there's a lot of cars left.
Time to beat so far. Thanks, Brad. Alan?
Ricky Stenhouse giving it a run. Little green line for a while there.
Talked to Ricky a couple weeks ago. In fact, it was Kentucky.
Ooh, he drove her in there deep, didn't he?
Yeah, he did. You know, he's had a lot of problems, like 3 or 4 races in a row, but he told me, he said they got that turned around. They went back to the basic setups, and he said, just watch the car now, Rusty. It's going to be much better. All the testing and practicing is pretty well done.
Second quick, 29:12 for Ricky Stenhouse Jr., our ESPN in-race reporter for the day today. ESPN.com's NASCAR page. If you'd like to suggest a question for Rusty and Andy to ask either Ricky or crew chief Mike Kelly on the pace laps or during the course of a caution flag today. And you see the blue spoiler on the back of that 6. Ricky, one of the Nationwide Insurance Dash for Cash eligible cars, as is Elliott Sadler. Now, the blue spoiler doesn't look so out of place on that 2 car because that's a normal paint scheme, but...
Yeah, but you can see the white on the windshield. That's also a designation of the Dash for Cash cars.
A little different shade of blue.
Nice run going through turn 1 and 2. Yep. Lose it off 2 just a little bit, but on the entry and the exit, all through the corner, he looked good.
Championship leader starting the day. Not by much. Over Austin Dillon and Stenhouse and Sam Hornish. And that'll be 3rd fastest for now for Sadler, 29:38 in the 2 car. Danica Patrick. Interesting scenario for Danica because she has run 1 race here before in the Nationwide Series, but she didn't get far into it before she got turned around and then spent the rest of the day just kind of hanging out. Looking for a more complete race today, if you will, and a more, how do I put this, a more appropriate experience.
Yeah,
of what a New Hampshire.
She better get started right now. That first lap was not good.
Yep.
And that's not going to put her in a position to have a good race here. When you start that far back, it can really hurt your chances. And this lap's quite a bit better. You can see it's tracking 10th.
First lap was 20th.
The car was moving all over the place the first lap. She was in and out of the throttle quite a bit. And let's see, it's loose right there coming off of turn 4. It's really going to kill her lap.
Down into the 29s, but barely, and that is going to be 12th fastest out of 37 for Danica Patrick. Down to 6 cars to go. Reminder that ESPN's coverage of Major League Baseball continues tomorrow and Monday. First tomorrow at 8 on baseball's biggest stage. It's a National League Central showdown. Carlos Beltran and the Cardinals take on Joey Votto and the Reds. Then Monday night at 7, Albert Pujols and the Angels travel to the Motor City to face off against the Tigers, led by home run derby king Prince Fielder. Sunday Night Baseball presented by Taco Bell. Monday Night Baseball presented by USAA, all on ESPN. Wait, to see the king or the prince?
I tell you, it was the king at the home run derby.
The home run king, Prince Fielder. Oh, I had to be careful with that. It caught me while I was reading it for a second. Brian Scott had a pretty good car in yesterday's practice. They didn't run much in the first practice at all. Thought that the later of the 2 practices, the afternoon session, would be more like race conditions, and put some good laps in that one, putting a good lap in here.
Yeah, one reason you wouldn't want to do that is because you can dial yourself out and kind of get into a bad place to get started when the track is where it's going to be, and they did a good job with that and qualified 4th so far.
Hoping for a good, competitive, front-running race today, and none of the bad luck that's plagued this 11 team for much of the season. 4th for Brian Scott right now. Who you got, Doc?
How about the champion, Ricky Stenhouse Jr. here? Ricky, by the way, has a chance to retake the points lead and maybe also win $100 grand in the Dash for Cash. What are your chances of doing both here today?
I don't know the chances of taking back over the points lead today. That'll be pretty tough, but I think we got a good shot. Our Cargill Beef Mustang has been fast this weekend. I like coming to Loudon. We get all the Red Sox Nations fans down here and cheering on our Roush Fenway racing team. So hopefully we can put it in victory lane for them. And if we do that, we gain points on the championship. We win the Dash for Cash, and everything will be good.
You just made Alan Bestwick smile because he mentioned his Red Sox. How about that, AB?
Yeah, you should have seen him, Doc. He was fist pumping up here like, hey, yeah, there we go. Another Red Sox team.
Got the win over Tampa last night. Start the post-All-Star break part of the season. Here's Austin Dillon. Second lap for Austin will jump him up to 8th quickest, 29.48. This team with Gil Martin serving as interim crew chief here today after Danny Stockman, the crew chief, suspended for 2 races after the Daytona qualifying technical violation of a week ago, while the team was already on probation for an earlier technical violation. Elliott Sadler currently 3rd, Vince.
3rd on the grid and atop the point standings, just where you want to be, huh? What do you got to do today to stay there?
Well, we gotta race hard. I mean, we know that the guys that we're racing are going to run good here. Our One Main Financial car was really good yesterday in practice, really good on race runs. This track's all about track position, so we want to get ourselves a good qualifying effort. Hopefully we'll be somewhere in the top 5 or 6 or 7 and then race hard from there.
One of the candidates for the Dash for Cash today as well, Alan.
All right, Vince, thanks. So down to 4 cars to go. Sam Hornish Jr., 4th in the championship. Of course, doing double duty this weekend, filling in for the suspended A.J. Allmendinger on the Sprint Cup side of the Penske Racing operation. Second lap for Hornish, 3rd fastest.
Tell you what, Sam's got to be feeling good. I mean, the team's got a lot of confidence in him. I mean, when A.J. got pulled out of the 22 Cup car, I mean, they could have put different drivers in their car, but they called Sam and said, Sam, we need you. We want you in this car. They did it again this weekend. So Sam's going to be feeling pretty good about what his team thinks of him. And a good 3rd place qualifying run today. Good run for him.
Not the circumstances you want to jump into the Sprint Cup car under, but you got to take advantage of the opportunity when it's presented.
Absolutely.
And Sam qualifying mid-pack for the Sprint Cup race. And again, 4th in the championship entering this one. So these last 3 guys, the 3 fastest in practice yesterday, right? They were the top 3 finishers in this race 1 year ago. Casey Kane finished 3rd. We'll see momentarily Kevin Harvick and then Kyle Busch. Harvick finished 2nd. Kyle Busch won the race last year.
Safe to say those 3 guys are pretty good here, isn't it?
I think so.
So look like
Good
that
run
might
going.
happen right now. It's in the green. Look at here.
Track record time set by Brad Keselowski earlier, 29.067. Can Casey Kane top it here?
Looks like he might do it. Not quite.
Wow. Just missed it.
P2 right now. The first lap was a 36. Waiting for the second one.
A 12, Mike Shiblett. 29.122 for Casey Kane. second fastest.
And what about the time between Kane and Stenhouse now? A 29.122 for Kane and a 29.127 for Stenhouse. These guys are awful close in speed.
New daddy, Kevin Harvick. Left Daytona Saturday night, went home. Wife Delaney gave birth to Keelan Paul, first child for the Harvicks. Mother and son reported doing well. Talked to Kevin about it a little bit yesterday. Big smile on his face.
It's the fastest first lap of anybody.
Far. Yeah, this is encouraging for Kevin.
That baby was flying on that first lap.
Got a full 10th in the bank coming off of turn 2.
Yeah, look how much that green is solid above there right now. We can hold it through 3 and 4 here, and it's still staying there. We might have a new pole sitter here, guys.
Slipped just a little bit right there.
Oh, it's going the wrong way.
Oh, it's going to be close, though.
Fourth for Kevin Harvick. Lost it all right there from the middle of 3 and 4 off.
Just that little slip.
So it's either going to be Brad Keselowski on the pole here for a 3rd straight year in the NASCAR Nationwide Series in New Hampshire, or Kyle Busch, who's won this race 3 straight years. No one has to overstate what it would mean to Kyle Busch to win the race again today and get the first victory for himself driving his own equipment. Of course, brother Kurt won at Richmond in this 54.
It's going to happen on the second lap. I just heard the engine up all over the rev limiter. And you don't want that. I mean, you don't want the engine kicking out going into the turn. That just slows you up a little bit too much in qualifying, in my opinion.
10th fastest on that first lap. Very top of our qualifying show nearly an hour ago. Doc reported on the various problems this team encountered and overcame in the practice sessions yesterday.
Really got a good run through turn 1 and 2 there. The car handled great right there.
Oh, you can hear it. Hit that rev limiter.
Still green.
Yeah, he's hanging in there.
Going back the other way.
Corner. Right here is where Keselowski was so strong, and he's not going to be able to do it.
5th fastest for Kyle Busch, which, by the way, is where he started 1 year ago when he won this race.
He's within striking distance.
Yes, he is.
Well, the last 2 cars had him beat down through turn 1 and 2, down the back straightaway, and they both lost it in the middle of turn 3 and 4. Mostly the exit of turn 4, I would say.
So for the 3rd straight year, Brad Keselowski will start on the pole for the NASCAR Nationwide Series race here at New Hampshire with a new track record time of 29.067 seconds, 131 plus miles an hour. Doc?
And Brad Keselowski's car getting ready to be pushed away here, and right behind him climbing out Sam Horn. He's been one of the big stories the past couple of weeks. Double duty Sam in the Cup car, the Nationwide car. How does driving the Cup car impact your focus and what happens here on the Nationwide side?
I'm getting more time in the car, so that's a big benefit. The Cup car is quite a bit different with the amount of horsepower difference between the 2 cars, but all in all, I don't think it really affects us too much. And you know, the one thing that I felt like we didn't get quite enough of out there was I didn't get quite into the corners as deep as what I could have, and you know, that might have stemmed a little bit from the Cup side, you know, because you're quite a bit faster and it takes a little bit more to slow down the car, so you have to lift a little bit sooner. So all in all, really happy with the Alliance Truck Parts Dodge and practice yesterday, and hopefully just get out there, have a nice smooth race. I feel like our car was turning the center really good, so the big thing that we have to do is just make sure that we get good pit stops, make good adjustments. The track always generally tends to free up here, so it's a little bit different than most places.
All right, Sam Hornish, by the way, his win last year on a flat 1-mile racetrack in Phoenix. This is a flat 1-mile racetrack, guys, just so you know. Hey, Vince.
Starting alongside Brad Keselowski on the front row tonight, or this afternoon, will be Casey Kane. Close. Did you leave anything out there?
I felt pretty good. Our Great Clip Chevrolet is really good. It was fast yesterday in practice, and the team, the whole Turn Motorsports team's doing a great job. So I didn't really feel like I left anything out there. I felt like it was a pretty good lap, and I'd say Brad got a great lap too. But it's close. Yesterday's qualifying, the Cup car was really close as well. And but today, looking forward to the race. I think we have a nice car, and thanks to Great Clips and everybody who's part of it.
Should be fun. Alan?
All right, it will be fun to watch, Vince, as we get ready to line him up for 200 laps of NASCAR Nationwide Series racing. Brad Keselowski taking the pictures. Heard from him a minute ago. New track record time, and he'll lead the field to the green for the 3rd straight year here in New Hampshire in the NASCAR Nationwide Series. NASCAR Countdown, 2:30 Eastern on ESPN. And then right after that, 7 Eastern, Global Rallycross Championship from New Hampshire. All that coming up over on ESPN. There's your pole sitter in new track record fashion. This has been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports. Talk to you at 2:30 Eastern Time.